All right, we're going to talk about special angle pairs. There are 6 special angle pairs. 2 of them we've already talked about. The other 4 are going to be new. For our purposes here, these lines are going to be parallel. Okay, so the arrows mean, hang on. So that means parallel. Okay, so if I look at these 2 angles, so I look at Y and I look at X, okay? Now, both angles are on the interior of the 2 lines, okay? That means that outside the 2 lines is the exterior, okay? Now, this line right here, that's called a transversal, okay? A transversal intersects 2 or more lines, okay? So, transversal intersects these 2 parallel lines, okay? As you can see, intersects it here and here. All right, so here's what we have. X and Y are interior. They're inside the 2 lines. They're on opposite sides of the transversal, okay? So here's what those are. X and Y are called alternate interior angles, okay? So those are alternate. Alternate means, if you want to think of it this way, alternate means opposite. Okay, they're on the opposite sides of the transversal. Interior, they're both interior angles. Now, if 2 lines are parallel, then I'm going to abbreviate, alternate interior angles are congruent. That means they have the same measure. Okay? So, very important pieces of information there. All right? First thing is, if that's the picture, X and Y, the 2 angles, are alternate interior angles. Alternate means opposite sides of the transversal. If 2 lines are parallel, which in this case they are, then the alternate interior angles are congruent. Okay? So what that means is, so what that means is angle X is congruent to angle Y. Okay? Now, here's a different pair of angles. Okay? So here's X, here's Y, but this time, both of these angles are on the exterior. They're outside the 2 lines. Okay? So, since they're outside the 2 lines, now, again, Y is on this side of the transversal, X is on this side of the transversal, so angle X and angle Y are alternate, get ready, exterior angles. Okay? All right, and again, we're going to assume that these 2 lines are parallel. Okay? So, if 2 lines are parallel, then alternate exterior angles are congruent. So what that means is angle X is congruent to angle Y. All right? So alternate interiors are congruent, alternate exteriors are congruent. All right, what's next? Okay, now, here's X and Y here. Now, this is a little bit different because Y is interior, X is exterior. Okay, so we can't say anything, they're both interior, they're both exterior. It's one of each. And they're on the same side of the transversal. Okay, so now what? Well, take a look. I'm just going to add these numbers in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what I want you to do is I want you to look at this group of angles and this group of angles. And I want you to notice something. X and Y are in the same position in both groups of angles, right? So what we do is we call these corresponding angles. Okay? Now, you're not always going to be able to write the numbers in, but what I'm saying is that Y and X are in the corresponding positions on their respective lines. Okay? So now, if two lines are parallel, then corresponding angles are congruent. So again, angle X is congruent to angle Y. All right, so alternate interiors are congruent. Alternate exteriors are congruent. Corresponding angles are congruent. So that's 3 new pairs. Our fourth pair. Okay, our fourth pair. Here's Y, here's X. Both on the interior. But, okay, these are on the same side of the transversal. Okay, here's your transversal right here. So, angle X and angle Y are same side interior angles. It's just it literally, that's the description of those two angles. Okay? Now, here's the difference. Parallel. So if the two lines are parallel, then same side interior angles are supplementary. Now, there's a word we have not heard in a while. Supplementary means the two angles add to 180. Okay? So that means that the measure of angle X plus the measure of angle Y equals 180 degrees. Okay, so those are not congruent. Okay, those are not congruent. Okay? Now, the last two, now these should look familiar. Okay? Two lines intersecting, the two angles across from each other. So angle X and angle Y, we've seen these before, are vertical angles. Now, vertical angles have nothing to do with parallel lines. Okay, nothing. They're just vertical angles. So here's what we know. Vertical angles are congruent. So that means that angle X is congruent to angle Y. Okay? So even in these pictures, you're going to see vertical angles. Now, the last one, X and Y. Here's the line. Here's the line sticking out. X and Y are next to each other. Now, angle X and angle Y are adjacent angles. Okay, you may see that. But here's what it really is. Angle X and angle Y are a linear pair. That's what you need to know. Okay? And we should know this from a long time ago, linear pairs are supplementary, which means they add to 180. Okay? So those are your 6 special pairs of angles. Pay particular attention to the pairs that are congruent because we're going to be using those a lot very soon.